Moldova. It's 16 hours from Jakarta to come to Chisinau. So please, I apologize for my loss of voice. I just got well from a flu and cough, so I hope you can understand me. Can I have a show of hands? How many of you are from Moldova? Okay, good. I'm in the right place. Okay, so my name's Aeran. I'm Singaporean. Anyone here been to Singapore? You like it? Good. It's expensive, yeah? Oh, yeah. Anyone been to Indonesia? 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's so nice. Very cheap. So I'm Singaporean, and I've been working in Indonesia for about 16 years. I was in Microsoft, I was in LinkedIn, I was in a few PR agencies, and at the moment I work for GDP Venture, and I got this invitation to share with you. I've heard about all the advice about how to run startups, so I'm not going to give you more. I think enough has been going on for today, but along the way I'll give you some idea how Indonesians come to the point of what to do for their startups. Yeah? Sometimes it's about following your passion. But again, in a country as big as Indonesia, passion is one thing, but data is the other. So I just realized you've given me a remote, yeah? Okay. So that's me. I'm the head of corporate affairs for GDP Venture, which is one of the largest venture companies in Indonesia. We have about 37 companies under us, ranging from FinTech, e-commerce, online publishing, and pop culture. Yeah? And that's my email if you would like to keep in touch. So, just a few quick facts. So Indonesia has about 18,000 islands. It's huge. And if you go from east to west, it's about a 16-hour flight altogether. And a population of about 275 million people. There's about 2 million in Moldova? 3, sorry. So there's about 275. It's big, it's huge, and there's so many islands. The next is 139 active volcanoes. So today you rocket Moldova. Can you imagine Indonesia? Every day we are rocking it. 139 volcanoes, yeah? So Indonesia is coincidentally in the ring of fire. So every other day we have volcanoes spewing up here and there. And I was just checking on Wikipedia. It's about 60 times larger than Moldova in terms of land size. Next, just a quick overview for some of you who are not aware. The trends in funding for startups in Indonesia honestly has been going down compared to 2 years ago when all the hype was there. Everyone wanted to be a CEO. Everybody wanted to be a CFO. Everybody wanted to be a COO. Startups are coming here and there, and companies that had funds were very aggressive. But that was happening in the last 2 years. But however, for this year, we noticed the funds have been going down. But as I mentioned, it is just the start of the year. For the sake of your Google searches, just to find out who are the giants or the unicorns in Indonesia, I've put up 3. Gojek, which is an app that mobilize motorcycles, who has the app on the handphone that is able to deliver anything that you want. From the food that you like to order, I think it's like Food Panda, similar, but Gojek in Indonesia is king at the moment. Traveloka is one of the largest online sites that you go to book hotels, to book flights. And Tokopedia, it is a marketplace, online marketplace, one of the largest, yeah? Gojek raised a Series E just a few months ago at 1.5 billion. And as I can share with you, the next is about startups. There's about 1,560 startups, ranging from all kinds of services and solutions. So one of the next factor is Grab. Do you have Grab services in Moldova? taxi apps where you call a taxi? Okay, cool. So in Southeast Asia, there are two giants, Grab and Uber. Grab took over Uber for the entire Southeast Asia operations. For Indonesia, I'm not sure in Moldova, startups do get tax incentives. So for any startups that have or make less than 400,000 US dollars a year, they do not need to pay taxes, okay? Do you do that in Moldova? Okay. You can send this deck to the Ministry of IT, perhaps. Next. So, I told you about how Indonesians come out with ideas for startups. So what they normally do is, we have a lot of corporate companies such as Nielsen, BCG, Boston Consulting, and they like to come out with a lot of data. So what the trend is in Indonesia at the moment is they always look at the data and then they decide what they would like to do. Because it's like a SWOT analysis. They use the data to understand what the current community or what the Indonesians want at the moment. So what I'm going to share with you is a very quick slide about some of the kind of data that people use before they come out with startups. Now, we need to know our target audience, yeah? So as you can see, there are about 143 million users in Indonesia using the internet. And the largest, in terms of penetration, are the millennials and the Generation X, yeah? And if you look at the penetration in total in terms of group age, it's from 19 years old to 33. So that is the target audience. Is it similar in Moldova or very different? You don't know. There's no data here. Okay. So that gives me an idea that I have to target young people, yeah? Now, 90% of Indonesia's internet users are on smartphones, not on laptops, not on desktops, because there are a lot of smartphones, a lot of cheap, affordable phones that are available in Indonesia for everyone to access the internet. The next slide is, imagine your daily life, and 88% of it is spent on apps on your phone. That's the reality of it in Indonesia. Everyone has got this new lifestyle. It's called heads down. So if you were to go to Indonesia, Jakarta, you'll see everyone with their heads down looking on their handphones, because their daily life consists of everything from apps, yeah? So as you can tell, thank you. So as you can tell, we are one of the largest countries that use apps the most. Look at the number of apps we have on a handphone in Indonesia. 40 apps used, 80 apps installed. If there's more memory on the phone, we can install apps. Install all the way. But the going rate is normally 50%, yeah? So as you can see, 80 apps that are installed, only 40 are used. 90% of the Indonesian mobile market is run on Android, not Apple. Can anyone tell me why? Who said that? Okay, you follow me back. Yes, Apple is considered to be expensive, and a lot of influx of phones made in China coming in that are Android-based. So a majority, 90%, are running on Android. So if you are a startup, and if you want to hit the market penetration well, make sure your app or your system works on Android. Next. So what do Indonesians do on the internet? Chatting, social networking, and watching movie, and listening to music. You got Spotify? Yeah? No? Yes, okay. One of the largest, up and coming, Spotify, yeah? So these are the three major things. Is it very similar in Moldova? Yeah? We don't do phone calls anymore. Everyone is through WhatsApp chat. And it is running in all levels of life. If the boss wants to scold you, it's not calling you. It's WhatsApping you. And when he sees the two ticks turn blue, means you get the message. Are we in the same situation? Okay, so similar, yeah? Okay, next slide. These are based on the age group and the smartphone activities below 18, 18 to 25, and so on. So as you can see, social media, chat, listen to music, phone call. So most of the startups in Indonesia, when they are doing their startups and creating or developing their apps, they try to make sure it works well on social media, because that's the melting point, or the melting pot of people interacting. Social media. Facebook, one of the largest in the world, number of users. Next slide, top 5 apps. I think this is not surprising, but WhatsApp is the main deal. It is taking over our lives. Sometimes I don't like WhatsApp because I've got tons of groups in my WhatsApp. You know, one group with the boss, one group without the boss. Do you have that situation here? Okay, so we're the same. We're human after all. And then next is YouTube. Yeah, we don't watch TV anymore. If you want to educate or communicate with the audience, it's through YouTube. Instagram, and then followed by Line. Do you have Line in Moldova, by the way? It's from Japan. Yes? No? Okay. It's pretty big. It's from Japan, and it's pretty big in Indonesia because of the very cute icons and emoticons, yeah? Next. So Line. For millennials, WhatsApp is considered formal. For millennials. Formal communication. If they want to express their feelings, the way they talk, they use Line. So, because it's more visual in Line compared to WhatsApp. However, as you can see, 16 and 24-year-olds, the social platform has overtaken search engines. So they're not going into Google anymore as well. They're going to social media to look for news, to look for articles, because most of the online news platforms, they also have social media sites as well. Next, Facebook main activities in Indonesia. Read the timeline. We are considered, I don't know whether you have this term in Moldova, but do you know what it means by busybody? You want to know what others are doing? So Indonesians love it. What is Arthur doing? What did he did yesterday? What did she eat the other day? Who is he going out with? Which photos did my boyfriend like the other day? That is their favorite pastime. So they read the timelines, they like, they comment, and they search for news. So these are the main things that they do online on Facebook. Now, agencies are having a hard time in Indonesia. Creative agencies, digital agencies, advertising agencies are having a hard time in Indonesia. With such a huge population and with so many brands, local brands to come along, you can imagine it's even tough for foreign brands to come in. Creativity, very tough market to penetrate. So organic reach are declining due to the increased content competition. So forget about boosting ads. If the first 2 seconds of your ad, it sucks, they are not going to continue looking at it. So, in regards to that, in Indonesia, it is a mobile-first social video. So, in order for you to communicate efficiently in Indonesia, is no more in text. It used to be visual, static visual. However, it has now become dynamic short videos. Because of the ability to compress the video size, that is why the explosion of video consumption is now available on your smartphones. It addresses the millennials' shorter attention spans. It's binge watching. It used to be binge drinking. And of course, the importance of context. Not much words, not much talking on the video, but a lot of actions, music, and again, the thrill of novelty. This is Indonesian word for 1 minute, 1 minute. So based on what we understand from James McQuivey, it's a 1 minute video is equivalent to about 1.8 million words. So again, in a very competitive environment in Indonesia, as I speak today, this is the common trend. 1 minute or less is better. Next. 80% growth of internet users have watched a video on Instagram. Even kids as young as 8 already have their Instagram accounts. And we can see that 4 times the growth of internet user upload video on Instagram in 2017. It's amazing the amount of photos, videos that are created just in Indonesia. We have a Facebook office in Indonesia, and what I understand that they are having a headache just managing the Indonesia market for Instagram, because the way we express in Indonesia is through photographs. It used to be Facebook, but now it's declining, and Facebook is a very quick alternative tool. Snap, comment, upload. Everything from the most important to the least important, it is there. The next thing that you should be aware of as well for startups in Indonesia is retail and e-commerce. I just landed in Moldova today at about 2 o'clock, and I love it. Coming from the airport to the hotel, there is almost no traffic. Do a Google search, Jakarta traffic jam. That's my world. So e-commerce, for it to be successful, for startups to be involved in e-commerce to be successful, it has to be door to door because of the traffic. Believe me or not, at times to make a U-turn takes 1 hour. So, maybe after my session, do a Google search and you'll be surprised. So again, the thing about the buying power of the audiences in Indonesia is that there is a lot of platforms that support e-finance or internet banking. But it is in our nature or culture that we like to do a COD. It stands for cash on delivery. You bring me my stuff, I'll give you the money. Is that the term commonly used here? No, okay, but just to let you know what COD stands for. So that is why startups like Gojek is enabling that to happen. So I will call Arthur, he's selling something on the website. I contact him, Arthur, I would like to buy something. Gojek sends the stuff from his place to mine. I see it, I'm happy, I pass him the money. So I pass the Gojek the money, and of course Gojek will transfer to you the amount that is supposed to be paid. That is happening on motorcycles, because if you were to use cars or vans, you'll be stuck in traffic. So in Indonesia, motorcycles are like flies, are like mosquitoes, they're everywhere, okay? Now the next is quite interesting. Indonesia is a fashion statement. A majority of people going online shopping is all about fashion. Women is the #1 culprit. They will spend like nobody else online, and unlike in Europe where you have Christmas in December, in Indonesia a majority of them are Muslims. Our Christmas version is sometime in June. The online sales could achieve 4 times to 5 times more compared to other months. Okay? So available payment methods are cash on delivery, ATMs, and credit cards. So what are the major factors? Again, for startups, they want to build on the current ecosystem, they want to build something new, they got to understand the consumer behavior. So the major factors that trigger Indonesian shoppers, to what we understand when we do our survey, is the payment options. If a seller has credit card options, COD, or transfers, they will psychologically feel that that seller is trusted. And then deals. Indonesian loves deals. 5%, 20%, 30%. So there are startups in Indonesia that specifically built a website to collate all the existing deals in Indonesia in the market, and people go to that site and they can buy or recommend those deals. And last but not least is free home delivery. Goodbye paying for delivery. It used to be, but because of tough competition, free home delivery is one of the factors. Okay, so 90 minutes a month is the time spent for Indonesians to do online shopping. Do you guys do that amount of time as well in Moldova? More? Really? Okay. So apparently it's number 2 globally. So I think this number is increasing, but I really pity the brick and mortar shops at the moment because it's being hit hard because everyone is moving online. Next, Indonesians love to travel. With 18,000 islands, we don't have to leave the country. Have you heard of Bali? Indonesia, Bali? Okay. One of the most visited islands in Indonesia for foreigners. So apart from Bali, there's so many other places to go in Indonesia. So online travel was one of the startups that was made, and it became a success. Traveloka, like what I mentioned in my earlier slides. So Indonesia digital travel growth in Asia Pacific itself is number 2 at the moment. As I mentioned, because the country is so big, startups don't have to think about selling globally, because by managing or having a major stake in the local market, it will suffice. So again, 14% becomes the sales contribution to the total travel transactions in Indonesia, and the desktop and the laptop is still the main preference, both to search for your flights and so on. Apparently it doesn't work on mobile because if you know, when you're buying tickets, you've got a range of options that you need to choose from, so it's best to view it on a desktop or a laptop. Lastly, FinTech. So, 200%. Indonesia is the #1 country in finance app download growth. We do not like to queue in the bank. If you go to banks in Indonesia, it's empty. We do almost everything online. So again, for startups, they have to work around the current situation. They can't just, oh, I'm passionate about this and that, but if they don't know the data, they don't know what's going on, they will ultimately die out. So again, that comes to the end of my presentation. I understand I've not given much in terms of advice, but I'm more than happy to answer any questions in regards to running startups and so on and so forth. And I hope the information that I've shared and insights are valuable for your years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for making time and dedicated your resources with us.
Sure.
I have a question.
Sure.
And you know the term underdog.
Oh, yes.
So we are here, the Moldovans are the underdogs for the startup world. And you have this rich, amazing international experience in PR companies, in startups, in public affairs as well. What do you think is the unique advantage that a country like Moldova can have at international level, or at least in the region? Where do you see the opportunities from startups coming from Moldova?
I hope I will be politically right answering you. I did some check on what the history of Moldova and so on. I think Moldova and Singapore has a lot in common. We are small, but of course Moldova is much bigger in terms of land size. In terms of population, it's pretty similar. We are a small country. So to start off, being small, being surrounded by huge neighbors who have access to first-tier vendors, companies. I think if I were to be in Moldova, with the fact that there's internet available, we need thought leaders in Moldova who have had the experience of going outside, but collating what they have experienced and bringing it back to Moldova again, so that the rest could have equal access. I'm just assuming, because that's what we do in Singapore. We send one person out to, the end of the world.
To study or to work? To
study and bring back information, and we share. But this comes through thought leaders. But of course, it's normally supported by government and so on and so forth, because we are a very small country. We don't want to lose out with our competition. Just like Moldova, Singapore is surrounded by Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, and we cannot be at the back. We always have to be ahead. So I think my 2 cents worth would be to create thought leadership in Moldova, people who have the opportunity to travel to see what's happening and bring it back and sharing it in groups. And you'd be surprised that millennials anywhere in the world, they would learn really fast and it will really catch up compared to, Generation X like me. Yeah.
So we have to import know-how?
No, we don't import. Why don't you send someone that you trust to go out, invest, get people to invest in a group of thought leaders who are capable to learn from outside and bring it back in.
And we have to look around at big countries like Romania, Ukraine, Turkey, Poland, everyone around us.
Yes. And really use data. I mean, spend the time to collect data, what Ukraine does. Spend the time to do what your nearest neighbor, Romania, does. I think in any business, startup or not, when you have good data, you make good business decisions. I mean, I'll be very honest. I meet a lot of new startups every day in Indonesia, and before they come in, I see a name card, owner, okay, CEO. It's like, fine, cool. And when the guy comes in, he's this speculator guy comes in, 22 years old, CEO. Okay, I'm 40 years old, by the way. So to me, the word CEO, it reflects something more senior and more of a leadership approach. So I keep telling them, why are you doing this? I'm passionate. I love this. Yes, but it's not going to put food on the table. You got to understand the market. You have to do your SWOT. You have to do a canvassing, basic business tools. Startup is not an excuse not to skip those business management tools that have been taught to us. So again, yeah, that would be my advice to them normally.
I'm sure there are other questions, and they will reach you in the halls of the hotel.
Oh, sure,
but
sure.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.